Hi, we're here at a very sunny Oulton Park, but first let's head over to Castle Combe to check out the action from the Elise Trophy.
Well, it's a little bit less sunny here at Castle Combe, looking very, very overcast as the cars come to the grid for the first of the races from Lotus on Track Elise Trophy, with Rob Boston, the revelation of the season, in pole position alongside him. On front row of the grid is Ken Savage. Savage looking to put together a good result this weekend in Wiltshire. So let's take a run down the top 10 with Boston, Savage in the front row, then Tom Roche and Craig Demon completing row 2, Mike Vase and Lee Hodson on row 3, Charlotte Borridge well up in 11th place, and then Chris Reed in 12th. Martin Wills, normally quicker than 13th in the grid, look to see him coming up through the field. Huge pack as ever, completed in 24th position by Adam Knight. Will he be able to progress up the order from there? We're about to find out as the red lights are on, the revs rise, a little bit of creep from Demon, away there goes. A good start from Lee Hodson from 6th on the grid as they all accelerate on towards Folly for the first time. Very, very quick left hand before they have then the long climb up towards Avon Rise and Quarry Corner. Here they come, and it's Demon who's got the early advantage over Rob Boston. So Craig Demon, the bright orange car, leads it. Boston in the blue machine in second. Dave Carr running a little bit wide through Quarry, but already Rob Boston is through as they arrive into the S's for the first time. Accelerating out of the S's through Old Paddock and on towards Tower. The field making a wonderful sight, streaming through the chicane. And everybody's safely through in these early stations. They come out of Old Paddock, another very quick section of the circuit, into the right-hander at Tower. The car just compressing on the brakes. It's a quicker corner though than it looks from this camera angle, Tower Corner. And then they have a very, very quick run the exit as we follow Dave Carr through and shoot the Phil Stratton Lake into the second of the chicanes. That's Bobby's. Shuffling through Bobby's and then accelerating out again onto the long run to Camp Corner, unless you're Stuart Radcliffe, in which case you jump out of the car over the tyre barrier because your day is done. Through the very quick car, Camp Corner, and out over the curbs, Craig Demon pushing very, very hard down, and he could lose the place there to Tom Roche as a result. So Roche goes through, gains the place on him. Also looking to gain ground is Martin Wills. We thought he would. He was able to snatch a place en route towards Folly. In the meantime, it's Rob Boston who leads. Then we've got Tom Roche under real pressure from Craig Demon, also the fast-starting Lee Hodson. And what about Ken Savage? Because Savage was on the front of the grid. There he is in the bright yellow car. He's in 5th. We're beginning to close up onto the tail of Hodson. Then the slight gap back to Stratton Lake. He's got Martin Wills and Dave Carr homing in onto his tail as well. Hodson and Denman looking to switch places. They went into Old Paddock. Denman was able to prevail. So it's Denman who's got that advantage on towards Tower Corner. It's a difficult corner to overtake on Tower. Instead, what you look to really do is set up for as good an exit as possible into Bobby's and then on towards Camp Corner where you can overtake. Ken Savage closing up onto Lee Hodson. He moves within about 1/10 of a car length, no more than that. Well, to the tail of that green machine, then accelerating out of Bobby's and a long hammer down into Camp Corner. And the race leader, Rob Boston, not only does he lead it, he's beginning to pull away here. Boston runs out over the rumble strip, another lap reeled off. Tom Roche in hot pursuit, then Demon in 3rd, and Demon's getting a little bit of breathing space here because we've got this battle developing between Lee Hodson and Ken Savage, and as the pair of them keep themselves busy, it enables Demon to escape. It means that Phil Stratton Lake, Martin Wills, Dave Carr, Mike Vase and the rest of them can all try and join into this train of cars as well as they come over Avon Rise into Quarry Corner. And Ken Savage really asking the questions now of Lee Hodson, but Hodson is doing the right thing. He's just sticking to the racing line and making Savage do all of the hard work. Savage though looks to the inside into the S's. Can he squeeze through? Oh, not quite. He certainly gave it his very best shot. And they come out of the S's and then through Old Paddock. The chicane's added over 10 years ago now, really just to slow down what used to be an incredibly fast circuit. It still though is a really exhilarating circuit to drive on. The drivers always love their visits to Castle Combe because, strange as it may sound, almost rarely for these drivers, it really gives them an opportunity to use their right foot an awful lot. Some very, very rapid section of the circuit as Ben Highland and Simon Jones begin to engage in battle as they close in onto the tail of Mike Vase. And Vase still staying with Dave Carr and Martin Wills. Ken Savage, well, he is getting a very, very fine view of the rear of Lee Hodson's car. He spent really all the race thus far up behind it. He's still tucked in behind Lee and struggling to find a way through, and at the moment Hodson's got the better of him, hasn't he, because that gap has gone out probably to 2 or so car lengths, and I just wonder if Phil Stratton-Lake is closing on to Ken Savage here and bringing this train of cars with him. So Savage is going to have to push hard here, maybe take a couple of risks. He wants to gain that place on Hodson, which is going to be important to him if he wants to keep this group of 6 or so cars at bay. They're having a huge amount of fun as Carr may take advantage here. Martin Wills just slightly a little bit wide through Quarry Corner. So Dave Carr in the all-black machine inside the black and orange car of Martin Wills. But where there's a Wills, there's a way. He moves across in front of Dave Carr, chops his nose into the S's, so no way through there for Dave Carr. So he has to resort to plan B. Still got Mike Vase, Simon Jones and Ben Highland up on his tail. Battles, though, as ever, throughout the field in the Lotus on Track at Lee's Trophy. It's not really one of the beauties of this series, and Vase thinks about the move on Dave Carr. He's giving it more than a little bit of thought, and Carr gives him racing room. Now can Vase carry that momentum out of Tower Corner on towards Bobby's? No, he can't, and Simon Jones thinks about the move as well. That could enable Ben Highland to squeeze through. No, Ben Highland runs across the grass. He takes one of the corner markers with him as a souvenir and resumes the race exactly where he left off. So the order up front of the field is still Boston from Roche and Demon. Then we've got Lee Hodson and Ken Savage in their battle, with Phil Stratton-Lake beginning to try and close in onto their tail. He's bringing that train of cars with him for company. So riding what is really quite an undulating, uneven road surface on the climb up Avon Rise. Ken Savage and Lee Hodson. Savage is pushing very hard here, sliding the rear of the car, but he's still unable to find a way past Hodson at the moment. Savage, who, whenever the Lotus on Track of these trophy races, is a driver who's normally pointed to as a potential race winner, will be frustrated to see the leading trio breaking clear. At the moment, he's being thwarted in his attempts to elevate himself up into 4th position. The battle going behind has rather split itself in 2. And we've got Phil Stratton-Lake, Martin Wills and Dave Carr breaking clear of Mike Vase, Simon Jones and Ben Highland. Savage thinks about a very late move on Lee Hodson into Tower. He couldn't quite do it, and that would potentially have been a very good day for the Lotus spare parts department, because that was never on, and Ken Savage realised that just in time, got on the brakes, got out of the move, and is now as close to Hodson he has been for the past couple of laps. Now whether that will translate into a pass at Camp Corner, probably not, but he's now right in the stitching behind Hodson, accelerating up Avon Rise. So here's the race leader, Rob Boston. He leads the way, and quite comfortably, and this is what Boston has done so well all season. Just take advantage of the field very smoothly. And then we've got Savage trying every which way to squeeze past Lee Hodson. But I cannot emphasise enough how well Lee Hodson is driving, because he is maintaining a very high pace and he's not driving any more defensively than he absolutely has to. He just moved across the middle of the road there to cover the line along the run towards the S's, then resumed his position on the racing line, swept through at normal racing speed, and there's just no opportunity for Ken Savage to get through. But he's now got a new man in his tail. That's Martin Wills, who's moved up ahead of Phil Stratton-Lake and Dave Carr. So this two-way scrap for 4th position could very soon become a 5-way tussle for that spot, and therefore Ken Savage is having to drive with renewed urgency with which to pick his way past the ultra-smooth Lee Hodson. Again, he thinks about the inside line into Bobby's. That's not a good option. Often see tangles where drivers trying to do just that into Bobby's. Again, Ken Savage gets out of the move with plenty of time to spare. There is the 3rd place man, Craig Demon, as he comes out of Camp Corner. Here come the fight for 4th position. It now really is 5 cars strong. It means that Savage is looking inside into Folly, and he's going to try and squeeze through here past Lee Hodson. That's a very brave place to try and make a move. Oh, and he loses it coming over Avon Rise, and Savage goes around. He spins once, he goes round another half a turn. He spins up those rear wheels. He's going to rejoin in behind Simon Jones. He's lost a couple of spots as a result of that, and he was pushing so hard you always felt that maybe that was just a possibility. Now, has he got a puncture there, Ken Savage? I wonder, because that rear left tyre did seem to be maybe a little bit deflated. It could have just been the force of gravity on the car as he was accelerating away. We'll find out in due course. In the meantime, Dave Carr and Phil Stratton-Lake, their battle continues. And Lee Hodson has been dropped to place by Martin Wills, so Martin Wills has taken advantage of all that. He moves ahead of Lee Hodson, so it's now Wills in 4th, Hodson in 5th, Stratton-Lake in 6th, and then Dave Carr completing the top 7. Those 4 cars still running as that continuous train as they accelerate out of Bobby's into Camp Corner. And it is just Wills who's got the advantage really of Stratton Lake and Carr battle, which is the closest, because Phil Stratton Lake has got Dave Carr bottled up right behind him. They streak through Folly and then begin the climb up over Avon Rise, which is just crested now by Martin Wills. We've got a yellow flag being displayed there. Wonder what that is for at Quarry Corner. And yes, we have got somebody off there. Can't quite catch the number. We'll find out who's gone missing in a few moments' time. In the meantime, we focus on another of the battles going on throughout the field. That's Clive Wills, who is leading this little train of cars. He's got Douglas Campbell just in behind him, and also Simon Oakley as well. So these three cars are busy disputing 15th position. This is one of the beauties of Lotus on Track Elise Trophy, is wherever you look through the field, there is always a good battle going on, and these drivers maybe not right at the very front of the pack, but still enjoying themselves enormously and having a very, very close tussle around the twists and turns. Carl Scummers, the safety car comes out. So the safety car has been scrambled. Now that is going to undo all of Rob Boston's hard work. It's Mike Vase who he lost at Quarry Corner. He is on the back of a flatbed truck. It's a good opportunity for us to take a short break. Join us in a few moments' time, where the action will continue here at Castle Combe.